Metaphysical Meltdown on Thursday. Boy, am I happy it's Thursday. We made it. And my guest is Todd Rohlsson. I'm so happy to have him. You know what? I didn't put his name on there, and we didn't know it till just now. He knew it. I didn't. I put up a poster last night that said, Space, the Final Frontier. And luckily, I did put his name up there. What a bonehead. At least I've said it a million times that we were going to be talking today. So hopefully everybody has really liked Galactic Week, because I've had nothing but fun. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that we're on, we're connected. And as soon as we get a few people jumping on, oh yeah, we're connected. As soon as we get a few people on, we will start. I will give a teeny little message, and we're just going to jump right over to Todd. He's the guy that's in the driver's seat today, as I put it. Spirit told me that was the way to go. I've got some points to bring up. Whether I bring them up or not, I don't know. He's probably already knows. He knows. Good grief. He knows. Okay. So war is over if we want it. Might have been talking to John Lennon every once in a while, you know. So I've gone direct, higher self, but I still see people every once in a while that come in to say hello, and that's totally fine. So war is over if we want it. So think about that if you would. Don't know if anybody or everybody kind of had the feeling yesterday that all of a sudden we relaxed. And I thought to myself, do I want to get up and have something to eat? Nah. Shall I change the clothes on the bed? Nah. Let me just sit here. Let me just pace myself to my chair. So I'd love to get Todd's understanding of what happened. So when I looked at Earth, Earth went, vroom. So there has been something that happened. I'm just going to call it a flip. When I saw that today, I did not have enough time to go in, because today's kind of a day I had a few things going on. As some of you know, this is my final podcast for a while. I was in my car earlier, and I was listening to this song by, oh my goodness, what a good looking guy named James Franchi. I don't know if everybody probably knows him. I'm like 30 years behind on music, but it's something about I'll be back around the way. So you guys, you know, I'm going to not stop doing this, but I'm going to stop doing this for a little while. I have some people coming in from out of town over the next few months, and I'm going to do something that I'm not talking about today. It's pretty good. I'll come back later and talk about it once it gets more settled. So I haven't left you, and I have a big, long list of folks who are trying to get back to be on the podcast with me. They've just had things happen. One person said, it's the biggest time in Earth's entire history. Sort of busy right now. So I said, okay. So I hope everybody can hear me over the fan. It's hotter than heck in the Pacific Northwest right now, and us little plants are kind of hot. So here's the thing. Todd is also higher self direct channel. And there's a responsibility when you step into that.
Yes.
He's going to be talking about this, channeling through higher self. He's going to be talking about sitting on councils. He'll be talking about whatever comes to him. So I just want to introduce to you, everybody knows him, Todd Rohlsson.
Hi, Mary.
There he is.
I you know, there's some of my favorites, and Mary is uniquely unique. So I just adore you, Mary, and I am going to be talking a lot today, but Mary has a lot to offer too on the subjects we're going to cover. So we're going to bounce back and forth, which all good conversations should be. Today you're going to see, you've seen some of my videos on Facebook. It's all direct, higher self. Today is direct from the hierarchy, and what I mean by that is, like, there's going to be a little more authority to it, and let's get to the point. And as Mary just mentioned from the beginning, she's operating from higher self now, and I'm operating from higher self now. When we want to go over what that means and how to get there. So I know we're going to talk about ascension, we're going to talk about the councils, and we're going to talk about higher self, which is all things that I teach, right? And I love you, Mary, because you know, like the titles, like I when I do my titles, you know who to bring in, and that's a real skill. That's a skill of higher self, when you can just match the information to the person. And this is really a skill that everyone is going through, and they're finding out what they don't like. Everyone knows what they don't like, but what do you actually like? And that's where the responsibility comes in that Mary mentioned. If you're not in your mode of like authority, then you're lacking responsibility, which means you're lacking alignment, and you're also lacking the ability to change things. So, this is your show, Mary. So where do you want to start? I kind of know where I want to go, but I can go anywhere.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say, Todd was a metaphysical friend of mine from way back.
Mhm.
I've been doing this for 17, 18 years, however long my friend's been married. That's how I know.
Yeah.
And so I remember him saying that your guides are leading the way and eventually you will do this. And sometimes folks, people have to prod you a little harder than maybe you might like. Todd didn't really do that. He always met me in a loving way. But I remember one night you said, Mary, I will not hurt you. And I thought, well, there you go. That was my problem. So anyway, we made this jump up to higher self. I guess, could we talk about that? That's how I kind of have it organized. Would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. The higher self is the natural state of the advanced human being. So they want to first of all take some of this judgment out of the system. There are a lot of humans on the planet who are completely comfortable being humans, and that's what they chose. It's absolutely correct. They love drama. They love creating drama, and they don't want anything to change. Okay. And that's really, around 80% of the planet. But they will change when they are shown something that works better, but they have to be convinced with their brain, which, it's really hard to convince any of you with your brains. It's getting into higher self is a leap of faith, trusting a soul as Mary has trusted me, and I've trusted her, is faith. Stepping out and saying I'm a healer, I am willing to change and shift, is faith. So the higher self really is an act of faith, from going from wanting to be human to something much more advanced. And what loses control, or what goes away, or what is still there but you don't listen to it, and I joke about it all the time, is what? Your brain. So your brain operates in the past. Your brain sits there judging, analyzing, deciding what's safest for you. A perfect funny example is yesterday I went Frisbee golfing with my healer friend, Jeff. And, I was putting and I had fear of missing more than fear of making it, and this is the reality of all of you and myself. We still live in fear. So and that fear comes from the brain. So the really higher self is simply expanding beyond the illusion and ego and listening to your own intuition systems. And I'll be glad to go over that, so that you can stand there and get multiple information sources, including your brain's take, and then decide what works best for you.
Beautiful. The hardest person I had to let go of was Mr. Tesla, who I was married to him in other lifetimes, not the Tesla lifetime. It's very hard to let go. It's like letting go of your earthly husband. But basically, he just handed me off to Tom. And I still see him, but I don't talk to him every 5 seconds. And that held him to me. And many of these guides were people, and they still had baggage, and it's heavy on me. And I thought, I'm going to release that baggage off me so that some of this physical pain can go away.
Exactly. And so what they say is Tesla is still around you, but now he will run through your higher self energy system. So I have 900 and it keeps going up, like 14 guides right now. Not because I'm special, it's just because I'm willing to step into the work, and my higher self is the center of the hurricane. Like the eye is always quiet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the eye of the hurricane. All this information is spinning around 24 hours a day, and then whatever needs to come through flows. So like Tesla is now part of your information system, and he will put the little pieces of information you need when you're approaching scientific projects or understanding energy, or even he says like opening trap doors to information, and that's right from him. And so Mary and I, we're trying to express in words, which is a very limited vocabulary, what it is to be higher self. And we're going to give you good examples, and I want to just get down to really basic stuff, and because it's time to, if you want to change, if you don't want to just stay human and you're bored, or you're bored of it, maybe you want to just have more knowing. It's simply going to come down to the first thing, which is what, Mary? Choice.
Absolutely.
So what do you, if you want to choose to work from higher self, the first thing you have to do is learn your intuition systems. So can you describe what that looks like to you, Mary? Like what do intuition systems look like to you for people?
Okay. I'll just say for me, and then I'll go over. For me, I can see the size of your guide's underwear, so I'm a seer. Okay, so I can see like crazy. Did I think I was much of a feeler? No, and I know now why I wasn't. I know why I'm not a big emotional person. My body was emotional for me. So any of you out there with chronic pain like I have, that's a clue. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because I had to go down and find it. I want you to go down and find it too, because once you do,
Yes.
it's actually really beautiful. So with people, it'll be easy to see what system they're running. Are they running, can they hear? Can they see? Can they feel? What is it? There's a lot of clairs, you would call it, right? And so mine definitely, but all of the other ones are coming on board now too. They are. And hopefully everybody realizes that you are more than what you might have thought of, and you're multidimensional, and these things will come online for you too. I know people will probably say, what am I? What am I? How many guides do I have? And like Todd, I had truckloads and truckloads of guides, and then you would have people from other systems come in, and you'd have people. I had somebody come in the other day on a person that I've never seen that galactic being in my life, and that galactic being had such strong energy. I had to sit down. It's the first time in my whole life I've had to sit down from that person's energy. And I'd love to talk to you after to ask you about that race, because I've never seen that race before. But anyway, I don't know if I answered the question. I'm just there's so much information coming in. I want you to really be the talker.
No, I think we want to show people that everyone has their own words, their own verbiage, their own perspective. The way I will phrase things. I mean, a lot of my people who, some family members and friends, they're like, listen to what I say, and they're like, I don't know what you're saying. There is a vocabulary to it, which is why each person and soul is drawn to different teachers, and that's totally fine. I happen to teach from hierarchy and higher self and energy systems through the universes, and that's my job. And Mary's job is that way too, with a little more slant towards vision and seeing and like really nurturing people in a way, although she can be tough. So what we're suggesting, that if you're going to live in a higher self system, first you have to choose it. Second, you have to have faith. And third, you have to learn your intuition system. So every person on the planet can have direct knowing. I'm all direct knowing at this point, even though I have a very advanced feeling systems and vision systems. I just chose because I understand all the games. You refine it as you go up, and I'm like, I have to be direct knowing because I have so much to do and so many ways to meet people. Like, so a really good psychic or healer or teacher is going to meet people where they are, or answer the question that you can sit where your vibration is. We can sit there and meet your vibration exactly, which is a real skill, and answer it to where you understand it, rather from our verbiage. So we want to tell you that this is not a small thing to be higher self, and it's a lot of work, guys. This isn't like you just, and I love Jesus, so, but this is what they're saying. This isn't where you just pray to Jesus and you go to church on Sunday and then like, I'm saved. Okay, this is where you actively work towards learning your abilities, towards expressing them, towards having faith and stepping out. And I see a lot of people who are still not understanding the basic steps. And so from the hierarchical standpoint, we want to help you understand that without the basics, it's too complicated. And if it's complicated, then you're not at the basics and you're not at simple truth.
Right, exactly. And when you are just asking, I call him Master Jesus or Dad, sometimes Grandpa, because we go back, we learn who we were. We have to learn who we were and how we are connected, and what is that word? So my line is Mary and Melchizedek. That's my line. If you want to look at that little piece of me plus the galactic piece of me, then basically probably at one time I was a rock. So I'm going to be stone and star, basic. So once you figure that out, you figure that out about yourself, okay? Then you know that. Then you don't have to go back, because that's old stuff, right? We're in the now, right now. So if you were still asking Master Jesus to save you, you are kind of giving your power away.
Exactly.
And I remember something you said to me one time. You said, go higher. What's higher than that? What's higher than that? And I remember doing it. I remember sitting there doing it, and I went, oh crap, it's me. Crap. And that is a responsibility, because now we got to realize, if we want to, I'm not saying you have to, I'm saying if you really want to do that, you have to realize it's actually you. You have to take on the understanding of, you could go to some spots where you are afraid. And if you go right into the heart of fear, you can disperse it.
Yeah, and they said like a higher level teacher would simply, I don't want followers. I'm not that cool. Okay, I'm just doing my job. So it's not about like, it's fine to go and learn and listen to this video and take the pieces you want and then expand on them. We don't need any more pressure. We have enough responsibility, and we would like everyone to go to, it's where everyone is still looking outside of themselves, because you're still in brain. So it is about like stepping into your higher self and stepping into your intuition, but it's also about responsibility and looking at the pieces of information, the pieces of being and emotions that are still holding you down. Are you still playing the victim game? Are you still blaming and hating other people for stepping into their work, or you don't agree with them? Are you still standing in a truth that's 2,000 years old, or a religion that states this is the only path? Are you going to continue to be vindictive if you don't get your way? Are you going to just be hostile because your political party says a different thing, or you believe a different thing? We have to get back to the main source of problem if you're going to get into higher self, and the main source of problem is your ego. That's it.
Absolutely.
And so Spirit has been talking to me, and this is really cute, Mary. Like me, I don't get nervous at all, but I actually had like little butterflies before this talk, and I was really kind of chuckling because it doesn't happen. I just show up, and the reason for that is because more of the hierarchical energy is coming in, and they really want to get to the point that everyone's ego is out of control. And so all week they've been talking about and showing me how people's egos are working. And most simple thing I already mentioned is like, I'm going to miss the putt instead of make the putt, on a Frisbee golf course.
Oh.
I want what I want. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to allow you to speak your truth. I have an agenda. What do you want to say about the ego? Because it is what is coming up in people with the Black Lives Matter movement. Why can't you acknowledge Black Lives Matter? That is the most basic step of getting rid of racism and prejudice and like authority, and just acknowledging that a race matters. Because if you can acknowledge Black Lives Matter, then you can acknowledge that you matter, that the earth matters, that staying in a high moral ground matters. So what do you have to say about that, Mary?
Yeah, the you matter part is the piece. Seriously, the looking to see that you really have to come first. And I think if everybody did that, they wouldn't be so concerned with who has what and who's saying what.
Yeah, but the you matter is mostly coming from ego. Okay, remember all of this straight from the hierarchy today, because we've been observing it all week in preparation for this discussion. We are constantly like, almost everything we do has an ego attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And until you can relinquish that, until you can go to an intuition and go, what's the truth here? What's the truth here? What's the truth here? You're constantly going to be operating on a small wavelength, because the brain is a very small wavelength. Mm-hmm. And you're constantly going to be judging from the past, right? We started with the mind, how it's a small vibratory frequency. And so we step outside and we get mad because somebody cuts us off in our car. We go to the store and we have to wait in line even though you don't want to. And so every second of the day is sabotaging yourself and conjuring up these fears and angers, which is all ego. And it's so ingrained in everyone's system that it's almost hard to even recognize how truthful it is. Any biases any lack of morals. Okay, there's so many immoral people on the planet who just continually lie. I mean, our political leadership, there's no honesty there. And if you're going to stay in this dishonesty, that's ego. If you're going to have an agenda where everyone doesn't get taken care of, that's ego. If you're going to create separation on the planet, or sell, do fracking of our water tables, you can't replace water tables. That's ego. And we as the individual, our responsibility is to transcend the ego, because we do have a choice.
So where I was going with that, because I
Sure.
believe everything you just said, where I was going with my little piece was, a lot of people right now are speaking out. Oh my goodness, we know everybody's opinion now. Everybody's really happy to give their opinion right now. And we're learning about our own friends. Lots of things that we didn't know our friends believed. Okay. So I'm just wondering though, if people are learning to put them in some weird way, we're kind of learning to put ourselves first, because we kind of have to get to that piece, because many of us never did. Many of us didn't. And when I was looking for something you said, I was going back through a bunch of my notebooks. I was looking, never did find it, but I found all kinds of good stuff. And one of the things I read from a notebook was speaking your own truth in kindness. That's what we're trying to work towards now. It's not happening yet.
Yes, and so I think this is great to add to the conversation, because you do have to, the personal responsibility is getting out of the sabotage systems in self. That means taking care of yourself, trusting your truth, taking your responsibility. And what we're saying that this is yes, and we're saying it's very hard to take true responsibility if you're still playing in the old system. And
Right.
the old system now is ego.
Mhm.
And we would like everyone out there to, yes, absolutely take care of yourself. But are you doing it from agenda? Are you doing it as a power game? You know how it is, Mary. There's so many people still playing power games and it's about taking energy, because they don't understand we're unlimited energy. And we have to begin to take everything in truth. And we would ask all of the people out here today, start taking your truth, but is that 100% correct, or is it 90% correct, 50% correct? So what is it that I'm not seeing? And then spirit will talk to you through your intuition system, and they'll be like, well, that's because of the past when you were a child and you didn't, you weren't taken care of. So yes, trust yourself, but see your agenda.
So it's really a relentless look at yourself all the time. I drive myself crazy with it. God didn't issue me a butt this time I've moved up, and I didn't get a lot of ego. And I was always kind of last. That was my job this time, to kind of be last, right? And I was dropped into this group of the bully, kind of megalomaniac. Luckily, I had awesome partners, and they kept saying, this is what's going on. And I kept saying, oh, I don't think so. I'm going to help them. I'm going to send them love and light, and I'm going to help them. That was like 50 years of that, kid. Don't be me. So the ego thing, though, is I think that we just need to sit and say, this is causing me not to feel really great in my body. Why is that? What can I look at? What can I look at about myself and find out, why do I not feel good about that?
Yes.
Right? And trust that answer you get.
Well, exactly. I mean, let's face it, this is the human condition. So if you've gotten a car accident and you have damage and you're going to be in pain, it's not going to affect your mood that great, right? Mm-hmm. So, you have to be a bit realistic, because there's always circumstances which provide reasons to be upset in the human condition. However, you can transcend it, and you can take all this as information, even the ego and the brain and the mind, and allow all this to look at it. And it's great. This is all training. It's not going to be easy. It's relentless pursuit of higher self. And it's a work ethic, honestly, to challenge everything anyone says and yourself all the time, to make mistakes and still go, and then just forgive yourself and move forward. And if you make ones that affect other people, you apologize. If you have an agenda, you stop. there has to be like, no, I'm not going to do it tomorrow. All of this consciousness happens in the now, and that's where the miracles happen, right?
Yes.
So it is a challenge to be here, and you wouldn't have chosen any other way. You didn't sign up for the basic course.
You guys did not. And if you are here now, you're butt kickers. So
Yes.
I want to ask you, Todd.
Sure.
So I had to try to figure out this higher self stuff a while back,
Right.
so that I could use it in conjunction with guides. That's kind of how it started for me. So I assigned myself a picture of myself where I was 40 pounds lighter, younger, and better looking. And I assigned that as being my higher self. So my higher self was that. So I would talk to my higher self, I'd hear back, blah, 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 until something happened to me that you knew what happened. I went to higher self and I said, what is the problem? And the word was subjugation. Right. I thought, well, crap, that's no good. So I had to go in and see what was causing some issues. And I had to go back and do a lot of work. Suddenly, higher self was nothing but blinding light. And that's what it is now. So how do you tell people to get to your higher self? Because mine, I'm sure, was a clunky way to do it.
Well, I mean, I think they say we've already given you the basics. So listen to the video again, and because this is the other thing, the distraction programs. Just really quickly, you watch this video, then you go off and play a video game, or you know what I mean. If you want to work at this, there's a work ethic, so they will remind you. So what was your question again, Mary?
I was just telling my clunky way to get to higher self.
Okay.
You did say how it all went down. It's a rigorous self-examination, and it's also actually just saying, I want to do this.
Right.
Bring it forward, however you want to say.
So I think Mary operates a lot from vision and like external vision. So she can almost project into things and into time. You're a bit of they're calling you a warp time traveler, which means you can warp in and out. I'm like a direct time channeler. I go on specific missions. Now, these are our higher aspects, and the reason we know that because we're in higher self, so we can go, well, what's going on here? Our human aspects is like, I have a weird sense of humor. But it's simply like asking and being and checking every millisecond. I know on my last video that I did this past week, I talked about like I have basically like 100,000 beams of energy going out from my system because I'm internal flow, right? Because that's also higher self. And so everything around me, I am monitoring, and I can monitor every turn when I drive, if I walk out the door, the timing, what a person comes to me and the agenda. And it sounds ridiculous, right? Because it's like, how is that possible? And what makes you able to do that? I'm willing to change. Yes. I'm willing to step into my responsibility, and I'm relinquishing my ego. Now, for me, I've always been very, you guys have known me. I'm kind of going a bit different. I'm going from higher self into more physical. You guys are most people are going physical into higher self. And so I've had to work a lot on my personality and relinquishing some little biases and ego. And it's fascinating to me because it's just as important to change your environment and your human consciousness as it is to align with your higher self. And this is the issue they're seeing quite a bit and I see it in a lot of people who are like, I step into the light, I'm free. And then the next day, they're kicking the dog. I mean, that's what they're saying. So it's a responsibility on all levels. And so being your higher self, it's like being moral, that we have to stop lying and cheating and scamming. And I'm not saying there's a ton of people doing that, but there's too many.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to begin to like choose to relinquish the ego. And we've covered a lot of what ego is today, but you're going to have to look at yourself and just go, gosh, I'm really angry. Why? I'm really upset. Why? And it's okay if it's because your shadow is you cut a piece off in the universe and your shadow needs to reabsorb. It's okay. I mean, if you've been abused, you have a reason to be angry. But there's a difference between anger and righteous anger. And there's some incredible videos on my page of righteous anger where the person is just, you have to listen.
Yes.
And so how will you know the difference between anger and righteous anger if you're just angry? You're going to have to trust and feel your intuition system and go, is this coming from me, or am I just absorbing crap from the planet? And I'm volunteering, and I've met a couple people who actually like dissolving darkness from the planet right now through their body, because that's one of those, there's 1,000, 100,000 people who've stepped up from, and we're talking from the hierarchy, who are purposely taking on the pain of the planet and the pain of people and dissolving it. So they're taking, for every person who steps in this job, they're dissolving 1,000 people's frustration and anger. Well, what would happen if you guys let go of the game? You stopped being angry, or you stopped hating. It would be so much easier for the planet to evolve and shift quicker, and it's coming, but you have to be responsible.
Do you think Mr. George was one of those? I know it was part of his karma to be that person.
Mr. George? Which George?
George Floyd.
George, they're just saying that it was a karmic thing and a reactionary thing. So sometimes the timing of things the timing of it was perfect, and the sacrifice was perfect.
Yes.
But on human levels, you're appalled, and you're like, oh my gosh, the poor family is, the brother went and testified for Congress, and like, stop.
Oh my God, that was something.
But from the galactic levels, we're sitting there like, the timing of it was such to actually relieve pressure on the planet, because before that you just had, and we're calling them crazy man, who's all it's all about ego and like, fulfilling what he wants instead of helping the planet and helping the country. Everything was about him, and then that happened, and now all of a sudden it's about, wow, we need to look internally. The virus happened. We need to unify and figure out a vaccine. If you choose to believe in vaccines or not, it doesn't matter. So you can see that these events were staged, and there was enough energy from the galaxy and from unification to spark them into a frenzy, because before that we were just paying attention to what was wrong, and now we're paying attention to what is wrong and changing ourselves.
Yes, it's a beautiful time, and it would be awesome. I think people are going to start getting what this time is about. You've been talking about it a lot in your podcast. Why did you start doing those podcasts?
Because Spirit's been bugging me. They've been annoying the crap out of me for like a year. And finally they're like, dude, can you please just do it? And see, since I have free will, I was being lazy, and that was my choice. I'm human too. So I have a lot on my shoulders in the universe too. And I've done a lot of jobs because people haven't stepped up. So I've been over responsible, right? And so part of me was like, oh, this is going to add more. So Spirit was just like, please do them. And I'm like, sure. And let's pick a topic and begin. Just like you. Why did you, Mary? Why did you choose to do these?
Well, I podcasted a long time ago, and then I was on radio a longer time ago.
Sure.
I decided to do it now because I thought, what am I going to do during this time that can help others?
Yeah.
And, what's the best way to sort of structure my day? And that's how it came to be. And I asked people from all over the world, from right around the block, to be on here, of all different types of, it was like every possible person. And I had somebody, gosh, I hope this is okay to say. They tell me this. I had somebody say, why did I have a certain person on? And I said, because I know their heart. And by the end of that podcast, the individual's mind had changed. So that is what it's about, kids. It's about taking a look at ourselves and understanding, where's that person's heart? Go a little higher and look. Where is that person's heart? Because you can label people this or that or this or that. And everybody knows I don't do politics. It gives me gastritis. I like to observe, but I don't do it. Makes me. And that's not my job. So people have been saying, you are a spiritual person. You are somebody that puts yourself out there. Why do you not do politics? Because everybody else is doing it, and that's not my job. So I'll be shut up in just a second. The deal is I would call them family over here. They tell me your voice is a voice of peace. Show it. That's what it all is. off my soapbox now.
No, I mean, I think it's brilliant. You're doing your job because that's all what you're supposed to do. You're in higher self. You're doing the job the way you want to. I bring up some politics because we need to show you examples.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bias.
No.
It's like, this is not working. This is untruth. And, you know, you have to use examples that everyone can understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think where I was going with that is that at this moment, could I have had on some Q people? Sure. Could I have had on some hard lines on one side or the other? And they're all the same bird, kids. They're all the same bird. You know, we got to go higher. I'll use your word.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing what you're supposed to do, and everyone out there, this higher self game is doing what you're supposed to do. And so you can admire someone's work. I mean, there's some things I think that are amazing, you know. I mean, I like fixing a car, you know. I don't understand it. I wish I could like take an engine apart and put it together as a puzzle. I really admire people who can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine to acknowledge and admire and really get excited about certain things and certain people. But it is a distraction program to always focus outside of yourself. And so it's a detriment to like getting higher self when you're always looking for a solution or a healer or something that's like you think you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to find we're missing parts in our physicalness, and we're missing parts in our spirit. And what are those parts? Well, there's steps to go to higher self. And one of the big ones right now for people is they're missing pieces of themselves in the universe. And sometimes you have to go to a specialist that can help retrieve them. You know, I know a few. I can do it. Mary can do it. And then once you get them into your body, you have more energy. And then if I have to fix my car, I go get somebody to fix my car. So we would just suggest that this isn't really, we're talking about this for an hour, but what did we say from the beginning? Start with simplicity, choice, becoming, accepting, and accept that you have dark thoughts, accept that you are angry, accept that you are upset, and go, why? And it's a constant self-inspection. It's a constant amount of work, and it's beautiful work because you only get to do this in physical so often. To achieve the level of consciousness, Mary, that we are going to achieve in physical is basically blowing people's minds across the universe. Because if we go into the councils, since councils was part of this, if we go into the councils, there's been times when even I have gone and found records in the Akashic records that when I brought them to the councils, that means they had to let go of authority or they had to let go of agenda because that was the code. If you brought these before the council and you threw them in front of the council and said, here they are, now you can no longer have your agenda, you know, whatever form, ETs or hierarchy or councils, because there's different vibratory councils depending on the dimension. And that helps change the planet. So we're big, guys. We're so big. If you're playing small, that's okay. There's no judgment from me or anyone. But if you want to play big, go play.
I remember when I was first shown a council, it was the Galactic Federation of Light. And I decided that must be the hot seat that everybody gets to go. So, so the best thing about going is you can toddle over and look out the window and look down at Earth. That was my big deal. Wow, look at that. And then I went direct. I recognized that all of my guides kind of came from that group. So
Yes.
you call it the hierarchy. I call it the family, the family on my right. And if I need to hear from somebody, they'll step out from the family and they'll explain. So from the family, I met somebody the other day who was a guide of a guest. So 2 or 3 days before I had the guest on, I had their guide stand in front of me. And son of a gun, did that Holy One stay with me for 4 or 5 days and show me all kinds of cool stuff. So
Cool.
You're talking to the hierarchy. Every once in a while, does a being come and speak to you directly?
I don't allow anybody to come through anything but my higher self system. Okay. because it's like a safe. So if something pops in outside of me, then that's something outside of my system. I'll address it or take care of it. they know that I'm in this strict structure for a reason, because people have to understand that this is the safest place you can be in. So many of the old systems that have been used on this planet and in these dimensions have been, by like being the shaman, or being the healer who feels in the body, being the one that the counselor, and all these systems are no longer, they're still okay, but there's new systems, and the new system is higher self. So I tend to, nothing is allowed to come through my system, but everything is allowed to talk through my higher self. So the beings, if they come forth, I honestly, I have too many guides, and I have too much to do to like single them out.
Yes.
But sometimes I will go ask some of the masters, like, because just some things, Jesus is a great friend of mine. We actually came from the same group in a way. And I will go have conversations with who I choose. Like Melchizedek and we talk, but we're kind of get on opposite ends a lot, because he's about rules and structure and I'm about freedom and alignment.
So are you and I soul family?
No.
Okay.
We're from different universes, dear. You came from the fourth universe, and that was your primary creation. And I came from a little bit further back in time, and you've been circling direct, and I've been circling around the outside, is what they're saying. But we are on the same mission.
Okay. And so I wonder if that's why I had to ask that question, because that talk that you gave
Sure.
a few weekends back was about the differences of the what did you call it now? It just went out of my head. First universe, second universe.
Yeah, it's about how life started, creation started and dropped down. So
I felt like that was what I was looking for today, because it's a few notebooks back and I couldn't find it. So if you guys don't know what the heck he's talking about, I think it's fascinating. I've heard variations of this, but Todd just spits it right out. It's just like this and this and this and this. And you can kind of go to the bank with that, absolutely, since where it came from. So
yeah.
What I would like to ask about those councils. So the other day, what they do is they just take me out and up, and I ask them, please don't do that. Let me know. And I will be able to say if I want to go, because it is a little disconcerting to be sitting in your chair in the living room and then be on deck. It's a little odd.
Yeah, and they're just saying that you're growing. Okay. Right. And we love Mary because she never stops. She's relentless, and she's so big-hearted and loving, and we enjoy that. But the reality is, I'm fully present here, and I can be fully sitting in 8 councils if I want to. So it's for you, some of the old system in a way, Mary, is like having that you think you have to leave your body. The reality is, no, you can just be there and be here and everywhere at the same time. I mean, that's real alignment and real energy. But your system is fine, but it doesn't have to affect you if you're in full higher self, because then all information in pieces are there, and you are led to go wherever you're led to go. So I think that's fascinating that you're doing that, and I've kind of forgotten that you can do that. However, it's a great way too, but there's always higher levels and higher ways, but you like the visceral feeling. That's part of your nature. So they're honoring your nature. And I just want to get to the point, because we have a planet to save.
Well, you know where that comes from, though? That comes
Where?
it comes from deep trauma of feeling as though no one loved me. So if you ask one of those folks, those beautiful big beings, to give you a hug, they're going to give you a hug, and you feel a lot better and you love them. And for years, they were the only ones who loved me. So I did not go direct, because I did not want to lose them. I didn't understand. So they are teaching us at all times. We are teaching us. We're doggone remembering. It's a deep dive of remembering. It's what it is.
It's fascinating. And we're really going off on a tangent here, because we want you to understand that you can do this too. And Absolutely. You may not have the knowing or at this point in physical, but as you're going to watch it in the next 2 years, there's going to people will come with zero ego. You're just like Derek, your guest yesterday, Derek Condit. He's also in higher self. But he's operating from a vibrational teaching system, just like I am. I'm operating almost from hierarchical, and he's operating from lower hierarchical. And it's not better or worse. It's just, this is our skill set, right?
Yes.
And Mary likes to float around the universe. She's known for that. And you came from a universe where the feeling and absorbing was your consciousness. And so you remember that you love to play in that feeling. I came from light and energy, where it's like creation and create, and what is correct is correct. So what is your mission, guys? It could be simply to be a nurse on this planet. What high level work? It could be to be a teacher. What high level work? Or a parent. So we would like to suggest to all of you who are out there like, well, I can't do that. There's no chance I'm doing that. You're doing what you need to do. You're doing great service on the planet if you're in a job of positive influence. And you also are capable of being in higher self and expanding, or maybe being one of the beings that helps heal the planet and take on the energies and absorb them, or deflect, or go past a tree and remove the mold out of it. There's so much ability that each of you have that's sitting there. And if you work through your intuition systems, you're going to start getting magic.
Awesome. Good God, I didn't get that mold removal piece, thank God, this time. So physical pain is emotional storage. You said it yourself. Okay, I'm trying to, I am, excuse me, no try about it, none of that. I'm learning how to remove it. So, and work through it and take a look, figure it out, learn from it. So this morning I got up at like, I don't know, it's 3:30 or something. And there's Jason Estes, which I think is a great thinker right now. And he's talking about entities, and the way he talks about entities is completely different than anybody else right now. Very awesome. And he says that when we have a traumatic thing happen, we may or may not have invited an entity in to do something. And we can understand if we still need that being around with us now. Did we learn from it? Did they, whatever. And we can easily invite that out. So I played around with that for a while. And then of course my brain has to go with, what about your guides? There's kind of like that too, because if anybody's interested, please read that or listen to what he's saying. He's a great thinker in a really easy to understand way.
What we'd like to say about that is, like, this is all training. So I've dealt with possessed people and entities and shamans and darkness across universes of time. I'm very good at wiping all that out because of the alignment, right? I have unlimited, when you're in higher self, you have unlimited light and energy. If you have an entity or you're in a game, you have limited energy. So who's going to win? So they would like to say that this is all education because it's training you to help other people.
Yes.
So if you have a lot of physical pain, you have to go, why? Is it karma? It's likely karma too. Mm-hmm. Is it wake-up calls? Yes, we've all had these events to wake us up and talk to spirit. Is it to inspire you to transcend it? Yes. So this isn't about like the easy path, although you're seeing, quite a few, especially some of the younger ones who like, I'm just not even going to play, and they're not even doing anything. And you're like, that's not fair. But it's there's something to teach there, isn't it? So we expect people to grow, and you are in an education universe of free will, and you're going to have a lot of challenges. I've had mine, but I've never been abused. But I'm a small percent, Mary. Come on, 80-90% of women, 30 to 40% of men, 50%. This is trauma. And you have to, instead of being angry, upset, you just go, what is it? Where does it come from? Did I sign up for it? Is it karma? And that your higher self will answer, or a good psychic, and a really good psychic can help you push it out or remove it. So you'll know how to do it. The whole reason we do stuff, Mary and I, and the more, they're calling it talented, but talented just means we can span more dimensions, so to speak, is so that you can learn and do it too. You go to a class if you're going to learn to fly a plane, you're going to have to learn the rule book. You're going to have to fly a plane. You're going to have to maybe even learn how, the engine works, or basic maintenance. Because what happens if you get stuck in the tundra? What do you want to do? And the first thing really is to live life as a human in consciousness, shifting into higher self, because that is the game you chose. And even the human ones who are like, maybe they've been inhuman a long time, they want to stay there, they're going to get intrigued and go, gosh, I want to take care of the planet. I want to be more than this. And then you teach, and we start changing and evolving this planet through energy and light. It's the only way.
It is. And so one of the things I found today when I was paging through all my millions of booklets is I found the words, do not spend another moment wondering about Earth. You know who the channel was to that? That's my mom. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Do not spend another moment. So what she's trying to say there is we're not going to worry about Earth. Earth could shake us off at the last moment. Earth's going to be great. It's us little, we're going to get our act together too. And so what I think Todd was talking about here, and of course, Jason has his opinion too. So listen to Jason. They're all coming from that neutral spot. If we can achieve neutrality and say, okay, I think I do have something in me, and we're not saying good or bad. Entity is not always negative, okay? It could just be, okay? So, and you find that you have something, it can be totally easy to go, I think I have something. It came in during my child rape. I'd like to say thank you, and I'd like to offer you to be released, because for you to hold on to me right now in my density, you're probably not having any fun, dude. So we're going to show you the door. Seriously. Because can you imagine a real low vibration something once we have achieved higher self? They're not having any fun. We're not having any fun. And it might be part of that pain. It's a denseness that can be shown the door. So hold on a minute, everybody. Okay, so what I saw this morning was Earth had gone. Okay, so something had happened clearly. How do you describe what happened yesterday?
Well, there's a level of consciousness that's shifting. I mean, the virus, the Black Lives Matter, the having to be with yourself. This is the third of 12 steps that are coming, 13 steps now. They just added another one that are coming down the pipe to make you relent from being in ego. It's that simple. So enough people have shifted, and I've seen it just like, it's amazing, and like NASCAR, there's one black driver in NASCAR, and they all walked with him down the track. And I lived in the South for 15 years, and I'm like, wow, this consciousness, we are one, is really the first step. It's an acknowledgement step. So what they're just saying that there's a mass evolution from these shifts that is pushing the planet forward quickly. And we've been waiting for these events, or waiting for the right moment to have the reactions and understanding coming in. And this is all the work of the light workers and all the people who choose to support the earth and are doing good work. Even if you're doing water projects in Africa, that's amazing work, guys. We don't want you to judge, what you've done. We just want you to go, we can do it all without ego, where we actually think of all beings and all people and everything in our space, and on what we put in our body and in our heart and what we watch on TV, and go, is that working for me? And it's just a question and answer all the time. So they're saying the shift is a shift in consciousness. So good job.
Yeah, good job, everybody. We want to say Sister Missy is on there.
Nice.
There's a lot of people on here that are asking questions, and we will double back, I think, probably answer a few. I didn't ask him your questions this time, everybody, because I had a lot of mine, and he's talking to his peeps here. So we want to just let him go. If you've ever noticed, he kind of just looks up and, he's getting all this stuff. So we just kind of want to let him go. Do you have any urge to say what the next thing is coming along? You can't really say it, can you?
No. I mean, they won't even tell me. It's like, and I don't want to know. Why would I ruin the surprise? Guys, we're in this amazing physical game. I mean, it's so like hard, and it's so rewarding, and it's so oopy goo. It's like syrup on a pancake with lots of butter. It's going to suck, and it's going to be amazing, but it's really about putting enough pressure on everyone out there in this planet to unify, to first of all save this planet. Because like you said, if the earth kicks us all off, I'm not even worried about it. I totally accept that, because if we don't get enough people conscious, that's what's going to happen. But the big picture from the galactic front is, guys, we already won. We already kicked the darkness, and we stopped the separation game to the extremes, and we're all going back into unification. Now, it was very tentative for a while, but the light parts have pushed and won this game, and now the result of that is we can radically change even more in human form, because as above, so below, right? So because we've already changed up here, now it's natural to live into a higher telepathic, super conscious self, and you walk around with knowing everything. And I can't wait, Mary, because like if I sit and talk to Derek or you, you know, you guys are in your higher self, so I can't really question anything you do, besides unless they have a little reminder, right? I just go, I'm going to listen to you, and that is fun. Imagine if we all just listen to each other. But if you're not gonna, we're not gonna listen to you till you're more in the higher self and using your intuition system and choosing to stay out of the ego systems too.
So I can't resist saying something here.
Sure.
If anybody has ever had a large period, I mean a long period of years where you felt alone and you didn't feel like you had any love, you
Right.
actually can get that love at a different time. It actually could come through. So I experienced it recently. I was just telling people, I was saying, I have not had so much love come at me in the last few months ever in my entire life. I have calls and messages and texts and stuff on these things saying that they love me. And I'm recognizing that that might have been love I was supposed to get all those years that I didn't. I'm thinking it's just coming on through.
Well, Mary, you're lovable. I mean, let's face the facts. You're just one of those lovable, big-hugged, hearted people. We all love to be around you, you know, and we accept you. You're always going to do the best. So people intuitively are going, God, she wants what's best for me, right? And so, of course, why wouldn't you receive that? And it's been fun. I've been receiving it too, but my job's a little bit different. And I'm like, if you change, that's like love for me. It's a little different. Yeah.
Yes, but the reason I'm saying that now is some of you, I'm not picking on anybody, but some of you may have felt that way. Just know you're going to get a love dump too, maybe. And just be so happy. I just walk around thinking, that is so awesome. You know, I write these big, long things on social media. Nobody ever gets it. They never do. They pick out one little thing. They go, well, you know, when you wear black, it means this. I'm like, you guys missed slap everything of what I said in the big, long thing the other day. But didn't it feel good for me to put it out there? And all the love back I got, I just want to thank everybody publicly. And the reason I'm doing that today, of course, because this is the last one for a while. So really, if you guys are liking these videos, I would just ask you please to go over to YouTube and subscribe to Metaphysical Meltdown, because I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm just taking a little break for those who came on at the end. Please always watch Todd, because he comes on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. And so if you just kind of get that in your head that it's 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, it's kind of a good time that they chose for you, probably.
Yeah.
So hold on just a minute. Let me just make sure. Okay, I think I said everything. One of the things, when I was talking to Master Jesus the other day, he said, take your days in the desert. And I did. I took a break a while back. Take your days in the desert. And I thought, you know, I wonder what that means. I did a lot of work during that time, and I know I'm going to be doing some more. So if you guys feel the need to take your days in the desert, do that. Unhook, you know, walk away, take some time for yourself, because it's, you know, this is a beautiful time to learn. I'd really love you to tell me, I know we're going to go over a couple minutes. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Have fun.
I'm sure you might have some things to say at the end. I just want to know, how did you ever start making those discs? How did that occur to you?
Well, because my primary ability is in energy, and I see everything in energy, which means I can look at anything or any person and I know what's correct and what's not, in alignment. It's not a judgment, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, if I look at a card, like somebody gives me a card, I know, you know, what it should look like if it was 100% rather than 80%. And I just started looking at patterns and energy, and I actually spent some time, and I'm not going to mention his name because he turned out to be a dark wizard. But he did some similar like patterns, but they were embedded with codes that would take energy from you.
Oh, God.
And I could see all the codes and I can see all the systems. So I knew immediately was like, Spirit was like, create some patterns from a higher dimension. And these patterns are going to be alchemical and they're going to produce energy. Of course, I didn't know that when I started. I just like, I didn't know what I was doing. That was like 12 years ago. I just knew I needed to draw these patterns. And then I needed to figure out a computer program, which is really challenging for me. It took me like 6 months where somebody might have taken 2 weeks. And I worked 40, 60 hours a week. I quit my regular, everything I was doing, got an art studio in Tacoma, and sat there and showed up 5-6 days a week, worked 40, 60 hours a week to make patterns.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And when I was done, and I mean, I think I told this on one of my last talks, you know, it was the day after my marriage. I dropped my ex-wife at the airport. My first show was the next day.
Oh.
Now, if you were there, Mary, you would have saw me just be crying all day, and they'd be like, all the healers are coming up like, yeah, these are really cool. What's your problem? And so the discs are simply patterns from a higher level of vibration. What they do is support your growth into knowing in higher self, or in this case, they block the 5G, which is because it's a very fast signal and it's designed to scramble brain. But my stuff goes way further than blocking. It also heals you and grounds out energy. So the discs are a little more advanced way to bring more light and energy into the body while protecting yourself.
I think that's the one I need. Is that the one I need?
Well, the new universe.
Okay.
This is the new universe. It's a frequency from the new universe, which is pure light with emotional healing and physical protection. Okay. I think you could go either way. Both have the new universe in it, Mary. So they both have the new healer. So I think either choice would be absolutely perfect.
So is it a double or is there one inside too?
Well, one side is the new universe. The other side is a double layer of emotional healing with a angelic shield. This heals the old emotional pains through light. No more processing, dissolve it through light. Okay, let go of the pains, dissolve it through light. The angelic shield is a physical protector. It spins off what you collect, and it also gives you more energy. So like today, I always wear my EMF, but today I'm wearing that because they just thought it was pretty. I'm like, okay, fine.
Well, they are really beautiful. And I get asked about my thing that I've been wearing this for years. This is Jeffrey Rohlsson. All the ones that I bought from you over the years are in Tom's room because they told me to stick them in there. But
Which is perfect.
Yeah. Well, he was all excited today. He came dancing down the hall saying, I fixed the toilet. I wanted to fix the toilet because it was a new toilet he'd never really seen before, a new system. He said, just looked it up on the internet, baby, and then I fixed it. Those kind of people drive me crazy.
I wish.
Oh my God. And you and I were just talking before this because Angela is your helper person and Tom's my helper. I have no idea, no want to learn how to do this internet stuff or this. You know, I just want to get on here and do it. It comes from radio though, because everything is done for you on radio, but you got to pay.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, and again, everybody out there, go join YouTube, punch likes, share the videos. You're supporting a real person who lives in higher self. If you're led to my disc, support a real person. Support locally. You know, we have to get out of the game of supporting all the things that are just consuming. So I don't know. Do you want last comments yet, or are you?
Sure, go ahead. I'd love it.
Remember, this is a game. This is a game you signed up for a long time ago, and when they showed you the video of it, it was just a video. Okay, and you're like, ooh, I get to be like the priest, I get to be a warrior, I get to be like a furniture maker, I get to be like a dark wizard. So when you chose this game a long time ago, and almost everybody on this planet has been in the game for eons, they were like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have free will to go any direction you want, dark or light. Okay. And if you go really extreme dark, you're probably can go really extreme light, because like I went really dark for a reason, so I can deal with the darkness in others, right? I went really light for a reason, because that way I can found that I don't have to do it through effort. I can do it through higher self and light. And that is the new game. The new game will go to higher self. You'll trust your intuition systems. And if you, sometimes you're going to get intuition from your friend, bounce stuff off, or go to a specialist like Mary and I, and there's a few others that can help you figure some stuff out. And all of a sudden the game changes. And so the old game is ending. The new game is coming in. It's much bigger. It's much more fun. And I highly recommend you do this, because it is what we signed up for. Stop the old game, go with the new game. And I would just like to say, I really do appreciate everybody. These videos have taught me to appreciate people more and to be more human. And I'm really, I really appreciate you, Mary. And go have a wonderful time and vacation. I'm going to run off soon too and have a little vacation. And everyone, work hard for yourself. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to California with an aching in my heart.
Woo!
I'm going to California to see some soul sisters. So they promised me awesome mountain, things. These are people I met before in Shasta, have become definite sisters with these people. And I want to invite everybody to Hands of Light. It's the place on Facebook that Ann and I put together, Ann Mukherjee and myself, in December. And so we have had absolute miracles on there. And so people just get together on there and we pray for folks and we do healing for folks if they let us. So it's got to, you got to ask. It's my opinion that you need to ask. Hopefully in the future, we'll have some interesting things, but right now we're just getting, I'd actually call it respect. We're getting people to respect us. We're saying, you cannot channel, you can't talk about politics, and we'll block you. So I've had to block a few people. It's weird because the last thing I wanted to say was I judged me in the past. I judged me in the past. So I allowed other people to judge me. Oh, who told that? Who told me that, Todd Rohlsson? So I put myself in that martyr bully situation where I had a couple people that were just like big old bullies. And I was able to step out of that. So step out of that loop, kids. Have a lot of fun. We're talking about, what's Master Jesus talk about all the time? He talks about fun. He says, are you having any fun? Yeah, you got to have some fun this summer. Okay, go outside, put your feet in the grass, for goodness sakes. Turn your doggone TV off. And if you really like the podcast, please come back to me in a little while. It's not gonna be too long. And please watch Todd on Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else I want to say. I think I pretty much said everything. Let me just make sure. I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. Seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing. I love you.
Yeah, Mary. Everyone go in peace.
I love you all so much. That's that good-looking Michael Franchi. Generally, I'm 30 years behind in music, but I heard that today, and I'm like, oh my God, that says it all. I love you. Love you, brother. Have a good day.
Love you, Mary. Everyone have a beautiful day.
Have a beautiful day. They might have left you some questions.
I'll go answer questions if you want me to.
Oh, God, it'd be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Those are yours.
Okay.
Okay.